Cafeteria Gnomes, a Lake Scatterwood Tales short story for middle grades readers by J. Wilburn. If you like what you read, check out the Lake Scatterwood Tales books. There are two chapter book stories in each book. Crazy things happen at Lake Scatterwood. So let's see what crazy thing's going to happen today. Skippy and Tina were super excited. I use that too much. I put the word super in front of things when I'm trying to be humorous or I'm trying to write younger, and I think I overuse it. We're very, very excited to be in charge of quality control for the Lake Scatterwood Cafeteria Gnomes. It was an important job. Everyone was depending on them. All right. I got something on my computer back here. Just a moment, sorry. I was testing a video earlier and forgot I'd left it on. Nothing bad. It was just seeing if the sound levels are right, but it was still running in the background there. Everyone was depending on them to get this right. I'm excited, Skippy said, but I'm nervous. But I'm excited. But I get the idea, Tina said. Don't freak out. Alright. They stood in the shadows underneath the serving tables, underneath the serving table, as the camp counselors filled trays for the campers moving down the line. I didn't know you were such a prolific writer before I looked on your Amazon page. You have tons of stuff. I'm really impressed with that. Yeah, a lot of those are anthologies, so it's kind of like one story here and there. But I've tried my best to get some novels out there and stuff. Since I write full time, I got to keep income flowing and that kind of thing. There was a long period of time where I was doing a good bit of ghostwriting and I wasn't publishing as many novels, but fortunately I've been doing well enough to where I could back off the ghostwriting and produce a little more work for myself. Yeah, but if you start scrolling through that line, a lot of those are anthologies where I just have one story in. All right, make sure that's there. Okay. This seems like the perfect time to freak out, Skippy said. They serve 3 meals a day. Let me have her do something. Tina patted him on the shoulder. If things don't go perfect now, then we still have dinner. All right, Joe says, does most of the income as a full-time writer come from Amazon? It varies. I I kind of I kind of look at writing income like you would like an investment portfolio. So I think you have to diversify because writing income comes in so erratically. Even when things are going well, it's not regular. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to get 1,000 this month, and I'm definitely going to get 1,000 next month. It could be a lot lower or a lot higher, depending on what you got going on. And then you can go through dry spells where you're not getting much of anything. A lot of publishers pay quarterly. So if you have books with publishers, you're not going to get monthly from that. Amazon pays monthly. Things like Twitch and Patreon both pay monthly. Twitch, you got to make up to a certain amount, so that required me to kind of build up a little bit to where I am now. I mean, I'm not raking in money hand over fist, but I do get paid from Twitch every month. So it's kind of spread out. I do get a good bit from Amazon. It's a little less now than it was, say, this time last year. So income's dropped off there a little bit. I get a small amount from Twitch. I get a small amount from Patreon. I sell books directly from my website, so I'll get a small amount from that. I write articles for Lit Reactors, so I get paid from them each month. I do some writing. I'm a staff writer for Stillwater Bay, which is a series out of Crystal Lake Publishing, and so I get paid by them semi-regularly. And I do some staff writing for a couple other places too, and then ghostwriting does a little. I get some royalties from a few things I've written in my own name, and then ghostwriting that come out. I get a little bit from various publishers and stuff like that. So a lot of that's kind of spread out. Right now, the single largest income source, it's not a majority, but I guess you'd say it's a plurality, is Amazon. I don't have the percentage in front of me, but it's less than it's less than half. My money comes from Amazon, but I guess Amazon's probably the single largest source right now. There was a time when ghostwriting was a much bigger source. That's typically bigger money up front, and you're paid sooner when you're talking about ghostwriting. Lit Reactor, I know about that because of Chet Polinick. He has some stuff on there. Yeah, he writes every once in a while on there. A lot of smaller name folks like me fill out the rest of the month, though. Yeah, getting on Lit Reactor was a big deal for me. I've been reading them for years. I like all the articles they have on there, and several of the writers have been very impressive to me for a long time. So it was kind of cool when my name came up and they gave me a chance to submit some stuff, and then started going regularly. I average about 2 articles on there a month. They usually end up picking 2 of the things that I pitch to them. Not always, but that's typical. And then I put them up there. So I kind of spend all month trying to think up good article titles and ideas that they'll take. And then I've had a lot of fun with it. And, everything you do with writing that makes money is good, but then everything you do with writing that gets you some attention is good too. So I'm in a good place financially with all those sources. I'm not raking in money hand over fist. But for a few years now, it wasn't like this all along. I've been full time since 2013, but for a few years now, maybe since 2017, I've consistently made more money than I did at teaching. So I quit that day job, and since about 2017, I've made more than I did take home from when I was a teacher. So that's pretty good for writing these days. This year I may drop a little under, so I may make a little less than I did. I've had some health stuff come up that kind of derailed a few things I was doing, so I haven't quite accomplished everything that I'd planned to, and that's all right. We're fine. But so this year may be the year where I drop down a little bit below what I was making teaching for the first time since about 2017. But from 2013 up to 2017, it was a very slow build. It's still a slow build. It's kind of any kind of writing, whether you're writing for yourself, freelance, or ghost writing, is kind of, it's sort of the Wild West where you're just sort of trying to get money wherever you can. But it's worth it, if you can figure out how to make it work. Obviously, it's the dream for most writers is to be able to do it full time at some point. I'm happy about it. They serve 3 meals a day. Tina patted him on the shoulder. If things don't go perfect now, then we still have dinner. Skippy shook his head, causing his little red hat to flop from side to side. I don't know. If lunch doesn't work out, then everyone will be hungry until dinner. Just do your... Oh, Tina's working with him too. Let's do this. We'll just do our best. It'll be okay. You'll see. All right. We'll just do our best. It'll be okay. You'll see. Most of the campers had found their places along the long wooden tables. I'm going to change a word here because I've used long and along, so I want to change that at the long wooden tables. It makes it less awkward to read there. All right. The noise level rose to a dull roar. The wooden surfaces of the camp mess hall made it sound louder with all the echoes. All right. Sound louder with all the echoes. All right. Everyone was distracted with the food and conversation. Now was the time to move. Skippy stuck his head out. He looked both ways and then up to be sure the path was clear. When you're a gnome, you have to remember to look up too. He gave the signal, and all the cafeteria gnomes scattered across the floor and then under the tables. Tina stuck close to Skippy and a few other gnomes joined them under their table. They stuck, no, I've already used the word stuck. They stayed close to the center and moved slowly. had to be careful under the tables. Some kids swung their feet. So the gnomes had to duck. Hold on, I need to put an extra space in there. The gnomes had to duck. Other kids stomped their feet because their loud mouths were not loud enough for them. Gnomes didn't dodge the stompers, they would get squished. Then there were the sliders and fidgeters. Human kids were all energy, and some of them just couldn't sit still. This was tricky for gnomes. Their feet would suddenly slide out and might come back just as fast. They might get nervous and start kicking out of nowhere. You had to be ready to move when you were under a table full of kids. Say that was all before you even got to the part about collecting food. Cafeteria Gnomes started living in cafeterias when they figured out how sloppy kids could really be. Food was dropped all the time. Half sandwiches, French fries, chips, wrappers with chocolate or icing still stuck to them. And all sorts of other delicious crumbs. Could come raining down any day at any meal. Alright. If you were a quick gnome, my writing, good afternoon, I hope you are well. I'm doing pretty well. I'm off to a good start in this story. Glad you had a chance to drop by. If you were quick, you could get the food before one of the fidgety kids stomped. Alright, for one of the fidgety kids planted their foot in the middle of it. If you weren't quick, then you had to eat your lunch with shoe prints on it. Then, if there wasn't a lot dropped one day, you had to lick the food off the bottoms of their shoes. Humans would think that sort of thing was gross, but Cafeteria Gnomes, alright, I can make that lowercase. Cafeteria Gnomes didn't mind the taste of shoe. You couldn't be picky if you couldn't be picky if the cafeteria floor was your home. Alright. Not much was dropping that day. A few crumbs tumbled down here and there, but they were small even for gnomes. Lunch was going by pretty fast. It looked like they might be hungry until dinner. Tina, I have to do something. Look out, she said. A kicker almost got him, but just lifted off his red hat instead. He tried 3 times to get it back off the kid's shoe, but Tina finally snagged it, moved him down across from one empty seat, and placed it back on his head. What do you need to do? She asked. I need to get more food on the floor. Tina just sort of stared at him as the other gnomes stood around waiting for anything to drop. Are you going to knock over a tray? You know we have to get special permission for that. No, I have another idea. No, I have another idea to get the kids to drop the food for us. Tina shrugged and said, well, okay, I'll help any way I can. That'll be 2 words, any way I can. Skippy led her farther down the table. He collected, come on now, he collected a couple spoons, a hard piece of gum, and a little smudge of chocolate pudding off one of the table legs. Are you going to eat that? Tina asked as she licked her lips. No, I'm going to throw it. What? Are you out of your mind? I have a plan. Tina said nothing as she watched and waited. Skippy placed the hard gum on the spoon and took aim. Then he... Hey Tom, thanks for dropping in, man. I appreciate it. Then he heaved the gum through the air with all his might. It hit a girl in the back of her head. She turned around and shouted. Who threw that? Say a few kids stopped eating to look, but none of them seemed all that interested. What are you doing? Tina asked. Hold on. I need to do this next part quick. All right. Skippy positioned the old pudding and putting on the other spoon and quickly hurled it the other way. The chocolate mess spread out and splattered 3 boys in a row. Other kids jumped up from that table and moved their trays. The boys groaned. What is this? It's cold and stinks. Who did that? I'm telling. Tina watched for a moment and then asked, "What are you trying to do?" Get more food on the floor. You're just going to get the kids in trouble. She said. Skippy smiled. You haven't seen anything yet. Camp counselors across the room to see what the kids were yelling at each other about. Then Skippy took a deep breath. He cupped his hands around the sides of his mouth and he yelled, "Food fight." Kids from several tables around him got quiet. The gnomes under all the tables froze and stared at Skippy like he had gone crazy. "Have you gone crazy?" Tina asked. Skippy whispered, "I thought it would work." That sort of thing only works in movies. But then something happened. A fresh piece of cake flew across the room. It splatted on a boy's shirt and then tumbled under the table. Several gnomes ran for it. Hey, what was that for? You threw old pudding at us. No, I didn't. I saw you. Then spaghetti noodles launched in the air. After that, half-eaten garlic bread launched from all four corners. Salad spread out through the air next. A lot of kids didn't eat their salad anyway. Gnomes loved floor salad, though, and they ran to gather as much as they could. Then the French fries filled the air. It's weird that cafeterias serve French fries as an option with spaghetti. But gnomes think it's great. Counselors shouted for everyone to stop. They got splatted for getting in the way. Kids that had no idea what started this joined in. Now the air and floor were full of food. It was more than the gnomes could eat or carry, but they did their best. As gnomes ran by Skippy. Did you have to do the 4:30 workout today? No, I do that Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that's when I have to get up at the god-awful crack of dawn. I'm actually going Thursday afternoon too, because they're going to have me start doing weights. So they want to train me on the machines and stuff so I don't kill myself. So I got an extra workout that day, but I'll get to start doing weights then. Then I'll get super buff and no one will pick on me at the beach. As gnomes ran by Skippy, they smiled at him with their arms and mouths full. Great work. My family will eat well today. You're the best. Skippy was smiling too until he looked at Tina and saw she had her arms crossed. What's the matter with you? I'm in charge of quality control with you, Skippy. You should have run this by me. Okay. Sorry, he said. Okay, sorry, he said. Isn't it great, though? She looked around. Yo, thanks for being here. She looked around at all the chaos and said, I don't know. It looks dangerous. Skippy looked around too. Kids were running everywhere. A few of them slipped and fell. He didn't want that. The camp counselors were mad and threatening all sorts of punishments. Camp counselors were mad and threatening all sorts of punishments, including not letting them eat inside. That might mean no dinner. Skippy realized he might not have thought this all the way through. We should get out of here, Tina said. Most of the other gnomes had the same idea and had run back toward their serving table, the serving tables, and their tunnels hidden beyond those. They had all stopped at the ends of the eating tables. Okay, let's see. There were a lot of feet moving around out there. We're going to get stepped on for sure, one gnome said, with a long spaghetti noodle sticking out of his mouth. we have to get, no, I don't need a quotation mark at the end of that. All right, we have to get everyone out of here safely. Tina said. Skippy tried to think. Okay. Okay, here's what we do. We're already used to dodging human feet. We just need to time our runs. Time our running. We won't all go at the same time. The gnomes took turns. Tina and Skippy waited until there was a space and told the next group, oops, I didn't hit any of the right letters there, the next group to go for it. Each group of gnomes managed to make it across and down the tunnels without getting squished. Tina and Skippy were the last two left. Then the cafeteria got quiet. The counselors paced around as they gave a long and angry lecture to all the kids. What do we do? Skippy asked. Just wait, Tina said. They'll stop eventually, and we'll get a chance to go. Then the angry lecture ended, and one of the counselors said, "Every last one of you will need to clean up this entire room. Start now." The kids all grumbled, but they started collecting trays, sweeping, mopping, and throwing away the messy food. "Oh no," Skippy said. He and Tina kept having to run one way or the other to avoid getting caught by all these cleaning kids. They hid behind chair legs. Hung from the bottom of the table and hid underneath globs of spaghetti until no one was looking. All right. I'm sorry, Tina, Skippy said. I'll never start another food fight again. We'll get out of here. Just be ready. The cleaning was almost over. And they were running out of places. Let's say the gnomes again. And the gnomes, let's say the last two gnomes. And the last two gnomes were running out of places to hide. We have to go for it. Tina said. Skippy took a deep breath. Okay. Let's go. They dodged between chairs and ran as hard as they could. That moment was the first time Skippy wished they didn't wear such bright red hats. That made 0 sense trying to hide, let's say trying not to get seen by kids in a cafeteria. Tina and Skippy raced out from under the table, ran under the serving stations and down into the tunnels. Did you see that? One kid asked. No, what was it? There is so much gum under this table. I can't believe we eat here. It's so gross. Just keep cleaning, a counselor ordered. Tina and Skippy stood in the tunnel, trying to catch their breath. That was a wild first day, Tina said. Yeah, sorry, Skippy said. I'll include you in decisions from now on. Tina asked, what did you get to eat? Skippy slapped his forehead that was smeared with sauce. With all that going on, I forgot to get anything. Me too, Tina said. But don't worry. I saved some old pudding from yesterday. We can share it. It has a shoe print in it, but it's still good. The gnomes went down through their tunnels to go share some lunch.